Ghana's public transport sector has long been at the center of national conversation, as millions of people across the country depend on affordable and reliable buses to move between rural towns, bustling cities, and regional hubs. For decades, two state-owned companies, Metro Mass Transit Ltd, popularly known as Metro Mass, and Intercity STC Coaches Ltd, commonly called STC, have served as the backbone of Ghana's transport system. They have carried schoolchildren to classes, farmers to markets, traders across borders, and families to destinations far from home. But in recent years, both Metro Mass and STC have been struggling, facing serious challenges that have eroded public confidence. Their buses have grown old, funding has been scarce, and commuters who once relied on them every day have increasingly shifted to private transport options, leaving the two companies on the brink of collapse. Before we dive deeper into today's update, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support is key to helping us grow and reach more viewers like you. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss out on exciting updates. It is against this backdrop that Ghana's Minister for Transport, Joseph Bukari Nikpe, has given an assurance that the government is fully committed to reviving these institutions and restoring them to their rightful place in the transport system. Speaking during the Government Accountability Series at the Jubilee House, the minister reminded Ghanaians that Metro Mass and STC are not just ordinary transport companies, but critical national assets that provide a service private operators often do not. He explained that while private trotro operators and commercial minibuses dominate Ghana's transport landscape, there are still vast areas and long intercity routes where only Metro Mass and STC have consistently provided coverage. For rural dwellers who need to get to district capitals, for students whose schools are far from their homes, and for traders moving between regions, these buses have been lifelines. And that, he stressed, is why they cannot be allowed to collapse. The minister announced bold plans to reorganize and retool Metro Mass Transit. The company is expected to take delivery of an entirely new fleet, 350 Toyota Hayes buses, 100 coastal buses, and 50 cargo and parcel trucks. This is not just about adding more buses to the roads, but about completely refreshing a system that has been running with old, unreliable vehicles. The inclusion of parcel and cargo trucks in the plan signals that Metro Mass will not only carry passengers, but also expand into logistics paths, a move that could boost revenue streams and sustain operations in the long term. Deliveries for this fleet are set to begin at the end of 2025 and continue into early 2026, a timeline that gives hope to many Ghanaians who have been yearning for visible improvements in public transport. But buses alone cannot solve the problem. Honorable Bukari Nikpe was quick to note that the government's focus goes beyond just adding vehicles. He spoke of infrastructure upgrades, from depots to terminals, all designed to improve efficiency and reliability while enhancing the passenger experience. For years, one of the major complaints about Metro Mass has been the irregularity of service and the poor condition of facilities. The minister's assurance that these issues are being addressed signals that the revival plan is not merely cosmetic, but a deeper reform aimed at building a system that people can trust again. On the other side, STC, long known as Ghana's flagship intercity bus company, is also set for a transformation. Once seen as the pride of the nation's transport system, STC has in recent years struggled with an aging fleet and dwindling public trust. The minister revealed that the government's plan for STC is a phased modernization of its fleet, including the introduction of electronic buses. This is a groundbreaking move, one that positions Ghana at the forefront of sustainable transport in the sub-region. Around the world, countries are gradually shifting from diesel and petrol-powered vehicles to cleaner, greener alternatives. And the minister made it clear that Ghana intends to follow this global trend. If successful, the introduction of e-buses into STC's operations will not only reduce carbon emissions, but also cut fuel costs, which have been a major contributor to high transport fares. This announcement is especially significant at a time when commuters are under immense pressure from rising transport fares, largely driven by high fuel prices. The minister acknowledged the financial burden on ordinary Ghanaians and pointed out that reviving Metro Mass and STC could help ease this pressure. Affordable public transport has always been an equalizer, allowing low-income earners to travel without the heavy cost associated with private operators. A reliable Metro Mass fleet in rural communities would mean that farmers could transport their produce to district markets without paying exorbitant amounts. For urban commuters, especially in Accra and Kumasi, it could mean a safer and cheaper alternative to Trotro rides. And for those traveling across the country, a modernized STC could once again become the first choice for long journeys. The minister did not shy away from admitting the challenges that have plagued both companies for years. He highlighted issues such as limited fleet capacity, aging buses, inadequate funding, and managerial bottlenecks. These problems have combined to create a crisis of confidence, pushing many Ghanaians to abandon the state-owned buses in favor of private services. But the government, he assured, is determined to reverse this trend. He emphasized that with the right investment, reforms in management, and upgraded infrastructure, both Metro Mass and STC can reclaim their positions as the backbone of Ghana's transport system. His words painted a picture of renewal, one in which the companies are no longer symbols of inefficiency, but reliable and sustainable solutions for the transport needs of millions. For decades, STC has been more than just a transport company. It has been a bridge connecting major cities and even countries in the sub-region. From Accra to Lagos, Abidjan, and Lome, STC buses have carried traders and travelers across West Africa. Its reputation was built not only on affordability but also on safety and reliability. Reviving STC and introducing modern buses, especially electronic ones, could restore that regional reputation and position Ghana as a leader in sustainable transport solutions in West Africa. Similarly, Metro Mass has been the heartbeat of many rural communities. In places where commercial operators are unwilling to go because the routes are unprofitable, Metro Mass has been the only reliable option. Its revival will once again give these communities a dependable means of connecting to larger markets and services. The announcement has already sparked hope and debate. For some, the timeline of new fleet deliveries in 2025 and 2026 feels distant, and there is understandable skepticism about whether these promises will materialize. After all, Ghanaians have heard many commitments about transport improvements before, only for projects to stall midway. Yet others argue that the scale of the plan, hundreds of new buses, cargo trucks, and electronic buses, shows a seriousness that cannot be dismissed. The transport minister's words carried a sense of urgency and recognition that these two companies are not optional luxuries, but vital components of national development. Beyond the buses themselves, the revival of Metro Mass and STC represents something bigger, a reimagining of public transport in Ghana. If done right, it could mean shorter waiting times at stations, more reliable schedules, safer journeys, and an overall improved quality of life for commuters. It could also create new jobs, not only for drivers and conductors, but for mechanics, depot managers, and logistics staff. The expansion into parcel delivery, for instance, could open opportunities in the growing e-commerce and delivery industry, allowing the state-owned companies to remain relevant in a fast-changing transport environment. The minister's assurance also comes at a time when Ghanaians are demanding accountability and tangible improvements in public services. His promise that the government will not only invest in vehicles, but also implement management reforms is critical. Many argue that without strong leadership and proper oversight, even the newest fleet could fall into disrepair within a few years. Recognizing this, the government's revival plan appears to be holistic, addressing both hardware and governance. This approach, if followed through, could mark the beginning of a new era in Ghana's public transport system. As the country waits for the rollout of these ambitious plans, the stakes are high. Millions of commuters are counting on the government to deliver, and the next year will be crucial in determining whether promises translate into action. For now, the announcement has injected fresh hope into a sector that has long been in distress. It signals that Ghana is not ready to abandon public transport to the private sector alone, but rather sees Metro Mass and STC as integral to national development, social equity, and environmental sustainability. In the end, the story of Metro Mass and STC is not just about buses and schedules. It is about the daily lives of ordinary Ghanaians, the student in Tamale trying to reach his school in Yendi, the farmer in the central region taking her produce to Cape Coast, the trader in Accra traveling to Togo for goods, the family in Kumasi visiting relatives in Sunyani. Their journeys are the fabric of Ghana's social and economic life, and the revival of these two institutions is about ensuring that their journeys are made easier, safer, and more affordable. The minister's words reflect a renewed determination, but it is the results on the ground that will ultimately speak louder. If the government succeeds, Metro Mass and STC will once again become household names synonymous with reliability, affordability, and national pride. For now, all eyes are on the months ahead as Ghanaians wait to see if this long-awaited overhaul finally becomes reality.
If today is your first time watching this channel or you are returning to this channel for the exciting content, please subscribe to the channel for more educative and developmental projects across Ghana and Africa as a whole. Do you want to know about the state of a project in Africa? Then make sure to like and comment the name of the project you would like us to talk about and its current state.